So, although we never got it, this is what The Amazing Spider-Man 3 was going to be. The Amazing Spider-Man did an okay job of explaining the origin of Spidey and establishing a relationship for him and Gwen going into the sequel. Part 2 dove more into a backstory for his parents and the sketchy Oscorp. We learned that Harry Osborn's father was the one who created the spiders alongside Peter's father. The villain of Part 2 was Electro, but this was just a misdirection for the real antagonist, Harry Osborn, who goes on to become the Green Goblin. After a heated battle and the death of Gwen, Harry meets with a shady character about forming a supervillain team. We see the beginnings of this with the Rhino. But beyond that, we never hear about it again, aside from the end credits Easter egg stuff. So what was Part 3 going to be about? Well, in part, it was definitely going to further build up to a Sinister Six standalone movie. But who was the main villain, though? Doc Ock, the Vulture, Mysterio? Well, I'll get to that in a minute. First, the second movie had a bunch of unused footage that they ended up saving for the third. When Peter was mourning Gwen at the end of the movie, he was originally going to attend grief counseling, where he was going to meet Mary Jane, played by Shailene Woodley. Also, he would find out that his father wasn't really dead, but he was in hiding. The grieving over Gwen, plus the mixed emotions about his father, would send Peter into a spiral where he would be at his lowest. What villain usually gets introduced when Spider-Man is at his lowest? Well, Venom, of course. Yes, Mark Webb was going to debut the symbiote in Part 3. In addition to that, Felicity Jones, who played Felicia Hardy in Part 2, was coming back to become Black Cat. Hardy's role in the film was going to lead her to her own spin-off movie featuring her and the Silver Sable. But obviously that didn't happen. Anyway, back to the plot. So yeah, before Tom Hardy's standalone movie, Venom was going to be the villain, and the symbiote was going to do some weird shit. For example, Uncle Ben, Gwen Stacy, and her father Captain Stacy would all be returning. But how? Well, the symbiote was going to resurrect them. I know that sounds ridiculous. Another dead character returning would be Norman Osborn. A deleted scene from Part 2 shows the Man in Black snooping around a secret project's vault with a frozen head in the background. Yes, that's Norman's head. I don't know how they would have explained it, but apparently he wasn't dead after all. So in this version, Spidey actually gets the symbiote after Eddie Brock does. And for some reason, he goes to the Sinister Six for help to fight Venom. They turn him down, and then he ditches the black suit, which finds its way to, well, guess who? Cletus Cassidy, setting up the original Venom spinoff. But in this one, Cassidy isn't a murderer, he's just a hobo who views society as carnage. Also, it would have set up the Sinister Six movie, viewing them more as anti-heroes than a group of villains. Joining Dane DeHaan, Jamie Foxx, and Paul Giamatti would have been Vulture and Doc Ock. It was a toss-up between Colin and Will Ferrell. Could you imagine Will Ferrell as Dr. Octopus? Because I can't.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
I think this movie was way too overloaded though, just like how the other Spider-Man 3 was. So you had Mary Jane, Richard Parker, Uncle Ben, Gwen Stacy, Captain Stacy, Black Cat, Venom, Sinister Six, Norman Osborn, and Carnage? Yeah, that would have been a complete shit show.